What's going on, everybody? It's Josh, aka the Moses Muscle. Couldn't even say it. Captain Doodles, aka Captain Insano, aka Lieutenant Ricardo, in the building with cousin Creamy.
How you doing?
You know what it is? Oh, she's really looking at the camera. All right, now you get down. All right, let's have some fun. So we have a base topic today. Base topic today is emotions in coaching. So there's so many ways to go about this. And honestly, I just had the perfect message get sent over. Shout out Danielle um for this. Now, Danielle, I'm gonna give some information out. Danielle's dealing with a little bit of a sickness right now, just nothing too crazy. But she sent me a message and she was like, "Am I losing all my progress?" No, you're sick. It's a very obvious answer. She knows the answer. But in a situation when it comes to coaching, you have to turn around and you have to either put blinders on and say, no, I'm just making these decisions based off of the feedback that I'm getting and the analytical data that I have. Or you have to remember that there's a human being that you're dealing with. And she's a human being who needs a little bit of reassurance. So, hey, she's not in a contest prep. We're just a lifestyle client. And that's also something that's going to have a factor in it. But at the end of the day, she's a lifestyle client. And no, you're not losing your progress. You need a serious answer right now. No, you're not losing your progress. You didn't choose to get sick. We have to turn around and move forward. So, just a little really quick example of kind of a lifestyle client needing a little bit of emotion from the coach. And I think we can kind of start with this and say, at the end of the day, you need a basis of knowing the person along with the fact of what the situation entails. So with that, I'll let you run it and then we can come back over.
Yeah, I mean, you can take this on a lot of different routes when it comes to emotion and coaching because again, you can do it for the sake of the client to the coach to the client. So in your instance, again, they're not in a prep, you're not in a really high stress environment when it comes to, let's say, a cut or a push or whatever the case may be. So the emotion that you have, you kind of have to take it the basis of I always like to start it as no matter what kind of relationship you have with that person prior to, you have to treat them just like every other client. Because again, if they're your friend and you're coaching your friend, again, if it comes to check-ins, if it comes to the quality that you give back to them, if it is the quality that they're putting forth towards your coaching, I mean, there's a bunch of different things that go into it because, again, if you want the best for your business and you want it to grow, like it's all well and good to, you know, your buddies checking in sometimes, not really checking in, giving them a half-assed answer, or you're giving more of a focal point to your friends and not to those of the clients that you don't know. I mean, again, there's like a bunch of different routes you can kind of take this, but no matter what, you kind of have to take your personal emotions out of it and treat it just like everyone else. Just like if someone random over social media came, hit you up, and wanted you to coach them, you just have to treat it very level-headed. Just like, again, everyone's on the same level here. No one pays more, no one deserves more. It's just at this point in time, everyone has to be treated the same exact way, whether you knew them prior to coaching, whether they're a complete stranger to you, whatever the case may be. Because again, if they're paying you for a service, you need to be able to bring them whatever that top tier level of service it is, whether they're your best friend or they're just a complete stranger.
100%. And I realize now as we're talking about this topic can go so many different directions. So I'm going to steer it kind of like this.
Hmm.
In a prep scenario, and we're not going to talk about personal relationships with the person, but in a prep scenario, there's a reason that people hire coaches. And the whole reason realistically is being that a coach, an outside eye, can literally look at you and say, this is where we are. This is where we need to get to. These are the steps that need to be taken to get there. if myself or yourself as coaches turn around and said, "Hey, I'm going into a prep, I'm going to prep myself." At some point, we're going to look in the mirror and most likely make a decision that's incorrect. There's a
Yeah.
lot of credit to people who can prep themselves. The Dorian Yates of the world, the John
John Jewett.
Jewetts of the
Yeah.
world, the all these people who prep themselves. There's somebody who's skipping my mind right now who just prepped himself and he looked insane. But either way, there's a whole bunch of people who attempt it, and it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. You are going to at some point make a decision that might not be correct, and that's just how it is. So that's where your coach comes in. That's where the emotions of coaching kind of has to disappear. Listen, in a prep scenario, we're all tired, we're all beat up, we're all fatigued. You might feel like crap, you might feel great. You might lie to yourself and tell yourself that you feel incredible. But at some point, someone has to turn around and tell you, hey, it's time to nut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You got to dig here. And it's not a if and or buts about it. And here's the best part. And I think this is the most important part. The coach, as the coach, the athlete perspective, it might suck. You might turn around and somebody saying, like, oh, you got to dig. And you're like, fuck, I'm dying. But as the coach, you make that decision, you stick to it. You
Mhm.
ride it. You don't feel bad about it. It is a ripping a band-aid off situation. This is the right call. And if you can display that to your client that this is the right call and I don't feel bad about making this call, they're going to have more confidence going into the phase.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. It gets to the point where, prep does sometimes, for some, not all, it doesn't really get crazy hard. Like even for myself, I can say my prep never really got crazy hard. It was hard for all of honestly 3 days. We did like really low food and then higher cardio. And then it was like I dropped 6 pounds and was like, well, fuck, you're already there. Let's just pull back. So, but that's also the same thing. It's like, again, you go to the coach for the push and pull, but at the same time, if you got to go dive into, low carb, no carb days, plus cardio, plus training, it's just like you said, you have to take the emotional side. If you're like friends with that client and you're like, okay, you're getting put through hell, and it's like you don't feel bad about it, you don't feel bad for the call because you know it is the right call and you need them to do this, then, at the end of the week or end of 2 weeks, however long the process is, they're gonna see it, be like, okay, wow, like it was all fucking worth it for that. But again, you have to be willing to make, a call in a strenuous environment for the better of that client.
100%. And this will lead us into the next person, right? Now, in no way, shape, or form, and I think we could both agree to this, anywhere from like 12 to 20 weeks out, should you be doing something that's like a zero carb day.
Yeah, no.
But on those situations, this is where the emotional intelligence aspect of coaching, I think, comes in, of knowing, hey, if you are 14 weeks out and we're already running zero carb days, except for specific situations, shout out Coach Baxter, who's doing zero everything days. Um, in certain like that's when you have to have the emotional intelligence to probably turn around and look at your client and say, hey, listen, we're going to need more time. We're not going to
Yeah.
be ready for this show. Or we can be ready for this show and this is going to hurt. Like
Yeah.
this is going to be a problem. So
Yeah. I mean, if you're that low, if you're eating that little amount of food that far out and you have like a lot to dig still, one, the coach probably doesn't really know what they're doing. But two, I mean, in special circumstances, if that's the case, then it's like you better just embrace the suck or this sport's just not cut out for you. Because again, genetically, there's people who just fucking, I mean, not to say like, oh, you hold on to fat, but it's, people cut hard. Some people, it takes a very low amount of food to be able to cut, or a very high amount of activity plus a low amount of food to cut. But even like speaking on the basis of like emotions, even on the flip side, so we're talking more coaches standpoint, but we both had coaches and we both have had different coaches. And even with that said, there comes a point where you get very comfortable with your coach. You get very friendly with your coach. You know, you can text him and you can chat with him, and it's not super business orientated, super professional. It can be very lax. At the same time, when you can have these conversations, all well and good to have a great relationship with your coach, and even forming a friendship. But when the coach says, I need this done. And it's like, there's no, oh, well, coach, what do you think about us doing this? Let's think about doing this. And it's like, I understand from a client standpoint, you want to give some form of, oh, maybe we can try this. I'm all for the give and take. But when you start not, I mean, Jack kind of said it perfectly. When put your coach on a podium, on a pedestal, and you're not respecting their calls and you're kind of just wanting to do your own thing, you're getting way too comfortable. At that point in time, you kind of have to take a step back and be like, why am I paying for somebody when I'm personally making these changes, even though I'm telling him that I'm doing what he wants, I'm making my own changes for myself. And I think that also has a big thing to do when people get way too comfortable with a coach, because at that point they feel like they've learned so much from them that, oh, I can make this call and everything will be okay. Like that kind of thing.
This even leads into another thing of emotions with coaching that we're going to come back to, which is like the emotions of gaining or losing a client. Um,
Yeah.
and I'll synopsis that and saying ride the midline, but we'll get back to that because there's a part that we forgot.
What?
Game day picks. So
Oh,
week
shit.
5 game day picks, the week of Thursday, October 3rd. So I'm gonna say the first game of the week, Bucks Falcons. I'm riding with the Bucks.
Mm, I don't know. I'm going fucking Falcons on that one.
Uh,
Kirk
Kirko
Cousins.
Banks. Kirko Banks. That was a hard game to pick. Next game of the week, October 5th, East Haven, Connecticut. CG. Cassie, go ahead. Go take your dub.
Yes, ma'am.
Next game, big one. Jets Vikings. I hate to say it, man. I'm a Jets fan, but Sam Darnold looks good.
Yeah.
It's also a 9:30 game. I believe it's in Berlin or Belgium or something of the sort.
Oh
It's
my
definitely,
God.
yeah, it's Northumberland Development Project, wherever that is.
What the fuck?
It's in London. It's in London. Jack, go see.
Oh, okay.
Let me know how my Jets do. But after that, where's the next game? Panthers, Bears. I'm going Bears. It's not
Bears.
a question. Bryce Young just got benched. Um, if you didn't know, this is being recorded well past that whole thing. So we'll see how this goes and when it actually gets posted. Browns, Commanders, Browns,
Yeah.
Dolphins, Pats. This is a hard game to pick simply for the fact of we haven't seen what this team looks like without Tua.
Yeah, that is very true.
So I'm saying Patriots. And
I
again,
was
this is being recorded before Tua has not played in week 4. So
as a Patriots fan, Patriots, baby.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Pats because then the Dolphins won't make a wild card and the Jets have a better chance of making the playoffs.
They're gonna make it
Colts,
over the fucking
Jags.
Patriots, Jags.
I'm Hey Rich. Anthony Richardson decides to show up and be a dog. It's game over. Texans,
Yeah.
Bills, Texans.
Mm. Yeah, sadly.
Josh Allen's Superman, but I don't think Josh Allen's going to be able to ride this team the entire way. So sooner or later, it's going to have to break. He's going to need a week off.
Fair.
Ravens, Bengals. Now
Ah,
this is week 5, and the Bengals are always slow until week 4.
that's true.
I'm still going to go with the
I
Ravens.
mean, see, no, I'd go Bengals because even with that said, fucking they gave the Chiefs a run. And I'm sorry, they should have won that game.
I'm sorry, there's no Mike linebacker on that team who's going to tackle Derrick Henry.
Eh.
I hope we go viral enough so that like NFL guys see this at one point and they're like, yo, you have no idea what you're talking about. It's like, yes, exactly. Raiders,
And then,
Broncos. I'm going Raiders. Bo
uh,
Nix doesn't have it.
yep.
Cards, Niners. I wish I could say Cardinals, but we're going Niners. Hawks,
Fuck me,
Giants.
owning.
Going Hawks.
Yeah.
Packers, Rams. Is Jordan Love back at this point? If he's not, I'm going Rams. If he is, I'm going Packers.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say flat out Rams. Cowboys, Steelers.
Steelers,
Why
baby.
I want the Cowboys to win that game. It's not gonna happen.
No,
Steelers. Saints, Chiefs.
we already know this one.
I love Pat Mahomes. I don't want him to win this game. I'm going with the Chiefs, but I want the Saints to win. I
Jesus
want the
Christ.
Saints to win. It's just not going to happen.
No.
All right, back to coaching. So, we're the topic of emotions with coaching and gaining or losing a client. Now, I personally have been in a situation where I've definitely been upset when I lost a client. You know, when you pour everything you have into this and you start looking at the long game of coaching, and you have your phases planned out. Like you have your program that you sent over and you're like, all right, cool, we're gonna run this for the next 12 weeks. Here's my plan. If we're in a perfect world, in a vacuum, in the hyperbolic time chamber, if you're a Dragon Ball Z person, this is exactly how the training's going to go. This is how we're going to manipulate the food, the cardio, everything, such on and so forth, all that. And then that person turns around and they say, hey, I don't think this is for me right now. Whether they leave you for a good reason, whether they leave you because they just don't have money, whether they leave you because something happened in their family. And you're sitting there and you're like, I was about to rip 20 pounds of fat off you in the next 12 weeks. I was about to put 15 pounds of muscle on you in the next year. Like,
Yep.
it doesn't matter what the idea is to a degree because the work that you put in and the I don't want to call it mental anguish, but the time that you spent saying like, hey, I plan on helping you build this. It hurts a little bit. And I think that realistically doesn't come from anything other than just the care that you put into it. So if your coach is sitting there and after you if you sent that message and you're like, hey, listen, I'm good. And they don't at least ask you why, you made the right decision.
Yeah.
If they turn around and they try and convince you into staying, that might not be the coach for you. But if that person is genuinely sits there and afterwards, maybe they have their read receipts on. WhatsApp has read receipts, right? So I've definitely been in the situation where I've read it and I have not answered for, an hour or two, simply because it hurt. I sat there and I was hurt. But then at the same time, this is a business.
Yep.
You have to make the right decision for the business. And the right decision for the business is to ride the midline and say, hey, man, things were good. You're leaving now. I wish you all the best. I want all the success in the world for you, but this sucks a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's playing both sides. It's being the supportive person trying to keep them. That's being the I don't really care. It's you ride the midline because good comes with the bad, and you have to understand that. The whole yin and yang is the one tattoo I feel like I don't have at this point. The yin and yang of the relationship, the balancing of the Libra scales, all of that is so important for the coaching aspect of making proper decisions, making sure that the person is understanding of that you do care about them and that you still have to make decisions that might hurt them in the long run. I use those
Yeah.
air quotes to say it's gonna hurt, but you're not actively, we don't have this oath, but do no harm, right? You are not actively trying to hurt somebody. You are not actively trying to destroy someone's health. Maybe if you got them in person and you got them on a leg press, maybe you're trying to kill them, but that's also a air quotes kill them. So like, yeah. That's the gist of it from my perspective. Your perspective most likely is similar because, hey, guess what? We're the same person, just two different colors.
Two
Uh,
different colors, two different heights.
the height thing, my height's questionable according to the NPCs.
Dude, and according to the NPC, I'm 5'6" and a quarter, so I want to fucking hear that.
Inversion table, we're good. But
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the same, like you said, right in the midline, but I wouldn't say there's like special circumstances. There are situations where it's like, for instance, a friend. A friend brings you on as a coach, then they're like, hey, I don't think this is working. Whether it's I'm gonna go elsewhere or I'm just not, this isn't for me. Like, yeah, they sting, but yeah, they sting. Especially when it comes from a friend. But it's something where, again, like you said, it's a business. You have to ride the midline. Um, and you kind of just have to take it on the chin. And if it's something that you did wrong, if it's something that you weren't doing, again, try and get as much feedback from that person who is leaving. So when that time comes around, it doesn't happen again. Or if it's something where, I mean, granted, if you're a coach and you're missing your clients' check-ins, I mean, that's on fucking you. That's just, you have one thing to do for them, like weekly. And if you miss their check-ins, kind of missing the ball here. But yeah, there's a lot of things when you, like you said, I mean, I definitely agree with that. Right in the midline is absolutely what you want for the business standpoint. But again, sometimes you can kind of feel when the client's on their way out, if they say by 6 months and then it's like that fifth month is up and then they're on to the 6 month and then like, they're not contacting you as much. They're not putting in as much effort to like their check-in form or like whatever the case may be. There's signs that you can tell it's like, all right, they're probably done. And it's not like you got to prepare yourself. It's just, get ready to have a conversation that you probably didn't want to have in the next coming weeks.
100%. And I think to put a bow on this topic because it's not exactly we can't really rant on this topic, right?
Yeah.
The emotions that you have for the client are one thing, but the emotions in the decision-making process should not be there. That needs to be completely analytical. It needs to be completely based on the data. So whether you are sitting there and you feel bad for your client, yes or no, you gotta brush that one off. You gotta just call it, take it on the chin, and you don't let them know that you're feeling bad for them. Because the
Yeah.
moment you let them know that they're feeling bad for them, now there's something for them to feel bad about. That's how I want to put a bow on this one. But now we're gonna go into something else. Colin, how was your night? How was your weekend? How's your week in review? Give me something.
My weekend review.
Your week in review. How was your training? What'd you do yesterday? Did you have a cheat meal this week? Let's talk. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Let's get the people to know what's going on with us.
Yeah, I mean, training all week has been pretty fucking stellar. Training this weekend. I only train one day on the weekend, unless you count Friday. But
Absolutely.
uh yeah, I trained just Saturday. Full upper. Pretty good. I tweaked my pec, so that's fantastic. But back
After
is
back training.
yeah, exactly. Back is getting quite large. I'm very happy about it. Food is very high and I'm very full all the time already. Yes, I had a cheat meal. Shout out. I don't even know if she wants me to say her name or not, but there's a girl around here who goes to my gym. We went and got a burgers and custard. So that shit was fire. Yeah.
Custard.
Yeah, it's like frozen yogurt, but it's not. It's fucking delicious, dude.
Okay. We have a custard place like right up the block. So
Dude, I'm telling you, it's fucking bomb.
see, I'm lactose, so
Oh, see, well, how the fuck do you eat tortofino?
Tortofino doesn't have uh like it's cookie or it's a croissant. I'm not putting milk in there. I can deal with a little bit.
Wha- There's butter in a croissant.
All right. Again, I can deal with a little bit, but we also are on the same page of what happened when I had said crookie.
Yeah,
Gained like 8 pounds, and yeah, I didn't feel very good the next day. So
yeah,
yeah, there's our answer.
fair.
Um, Yeah, that's exactly how I have that. You think we'd get them to sponsor the podcast? Let
Dude,
me get
that'd be
a cookie
fucking
let me get a
sick.
cookie on the double.
Dude, fuck that. I need chunk. I need chunk on that
Bree,
that
Bree,
that new cookie. The whole like fuck. What's it called?
I'm gonna pull it up. Hold up.
It's the new cookie from it's like the Dubai chocolate. I forgot what it's called.
Oh, the kanafe or something like
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, she's
That shit looks crazy.
yeah, I was talking to her pretty much all day yesterday. Bree, shout you out. Chunk Long Island. Code Moses at checkout, I believe, is still a thing. Um,
That's sick.
I don't know if there's how much of a discount it is, but I rep my people, so you know what it is. But speaking of Bree, perfect segue. Yesterday was a Natural Body Epic Block Party. If you are from New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and it's not that bad of a drive for you, definitely make sure that it's one of the events that you come out to. Hopefully, again, we go viral. We got millions of subscribers by next year. So when you watch this one, we got millions of people showing up. This one was right in my backyard. It was less than a stone's throw away if you got a decent arm from Ultimate Gym. I gotta have a caveat, man. Not everyone out here is Anthony Richardson. Um, but literally, if you got a decent arm, you could hit Ultimate Gym from there. Probably hit the parking lot. But absolutely amazing experience. Met a lot of people. Um, met Julian Smith. That was childhood idol of mine. Was subscribed to the Daily Pump for a long time. Uh, Doug Miller has the biggest arms I've ever seen in person. And yeah, I have seen Andrew Jacked in person, and it's close. It's close. Nick Walker's got him beat, actually, but it's close. He is no schlup. A lot of the guys came out to the gym in the morning, which was also awesome. You back for something. Um, Shout out Fit Butters. They were there. They came to the gym. Shout out Ghost.
Oh, no shit.
Um,
I saw Fit Butters was there. I didn't know they were coming by the gym.
Core Nutritionals came, which is
Ooh.
also like unmatched, which is also Arms Race Nutrition, which is also because Doug owns like five different companies. But yeah, it was a really cool experience. Shout out Dustin, shout out Tim, shout out Steve. Thanks for having me. I did work security, and then I worked for the Ambrosia table. Ambrosia was also there, Mike Rashid and Mark Loveliner. Um, Now I feel like I'm just name dropping. But the most important part, people were digging the cinnamon blueberry rice. Talk to me now. I'll let you know. They were, but no, it was a great experience. Afterwards, I had a couple protein bar, not full protein bars, but like little samples of protein bars while I was there. That was a great time. And then obviously, you already know, went out to sushi afterwards. Did not go hard at sushi because honest to God, I was dead tired. And the only reason I went to sushi was because I realized I was behind on meals. So the idea was to eat enough to make up for that. And this is not something I ever suggest people doing. But when the calories are extremely clean like that, I will give myself the leeway of having a little bit larger of a meal. And there's no way, and I didn't cover it. I was like 3 pounds down this morning. So I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to stuff myself. I did want to have my Ninja Creamy at the end of the night. So whatever, things happen. But all in all, great weekend, great time. A lot of my clients showed up, which was the coolest thing. So it's really nice. Next year, Cousin Creamy will be in the building. Maybe we'll be making creamies on the spot.
Oh, bro, that
That
would
would-
be it.
but yeah, so that's kind of my weekend in review. Um, Shout out my mom, actually. Today is her 23rd anniversary.
Hey.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. But other than that, man, I think we can wrap this. Just we can review, let the people know training. Uh, your boy's getting
Yeah, Mr. fucking Weed over here. How's your fucking training been?
better. I'm back.
You've been back. Get the fuck out of
I'm
here.
back. So I used to refer to marijuana as a governor. It was a thing that I would do before a training session if I really felt like I personally needed a deload. If my body was dying, and I needed to pull back on the weights a little bit and I'd feel the muscle a little more. With the new training style and the old habits of progressive overload beating the logbook, I remember what I did the week before. But I know that I have a crazy amount of volume. So either way, if I smoke before or after a training session, doesn't matter. I'm burning through it halfway through. So it almost doesn't make sense to do, but it's nice to start my isolation movements with that. So uh yeah, this is a topic, maybe this is a topic for next week. Smoking under or training under the influence of something.
Oh
It's a
man.
pre-workout. Yeah, this is the topic for next week.
Something that I've never done.
Caffeine, marijuana,
Yeah.
ephedrine, Glen, whatever it may be, a little injectable L-carnitine, a little injectable pre-workouts. That's the topic for next week. But personally, I feel like it's something where being out of body or being out of mind and being able to see yourself from the outside looking in and being able to connect with something a little bit better is never going to be a bad thing.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
So, is it going to be a habit like it was during prep? No, absolutely not. But every
When
once in a
needed.
while, during prep, there was maybe 5 times a day. It was bad, very bad. Now, not going to do it pre-cardio, I'll tell you that. That was miserable the one time I tried that.
Yeah, it's
I'm going to be
brutal.
doing it before every training session, but every once in a while, a little dibble dabble. Okay, why not? So, with that, we'll wrap it there. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We didn't run out of time this time, so I got to actually do a proper outro. Peace. I don't even know how to end this.
Nice outro.